Hey everybody, happy Labor Day weekend. It's Tony Robbins, and I just wanted to send out a little video message. By the way, I'm here in Fiji. It's a rough life. I'm doing 2 back-to-back seminars, but doing it here makes life not feel like much labor. But I got here because I had the privilege of stumbling upon a fundamental principle in my youth, and that principle was taught to me by my original teacher, and his name was Jim Rohn. And Jim taught me when I was just 17 years old that in life, there's only one way for you to really truly have your labor be fulfilling. You have to align with what's most important to you, what you really believe in, what's meaningful for you. That if you settle for something less than that, while you might have to do it because you have to pay your bills, you can't ever give up pursuing what's going to make you feel most alive. Because ultimately, I really believe that probably the most sacred thing in our lives that we can give another human being besides our love is our labor. You think about it, your labor is your energy, it's your time, it's your emotion, it's your intellect, it's your spirit to some extent. And if you can find a way where what you do for a living activates that sense of what you're made for, then work is not work, whether you be in Fiji or whether you be in an environment that might seem less exciting and promising in the moment. And trust me, I worked in plenty of those too. But with the same level of excitement and passion, because I found what turns me on, that makes me feel alive, makes me feel like I'm doing something that's worthwhile. And on Labor Day, I think a lot of people, it's just a holiday to get away and take time off of labor. And my hope is to trigger you to think about how could you turn your labor into your love? I think it was Mark Twain who said, when your vocation becomes your vacation, that's when life becomes truly magnificent. And I'm privileged enough to have that, but I pursued it. And one of the secrets that I found, and I know you know this in your soul, is that we all know if you're going to be masterful at something, you don't show up as the best in the world at something. You don't show up in environments that you want to be in. You get there because you did things for thousands and thousands of hours. Most of you know the concept of mastery taking 10,000 hours. It's an arbitrary number, but I'm sure you've heard about it. You want to get really good at something, it's 10,000 hours, because when you do something enough, with enough intensity, enough intention to constantly get better, when your labor is your love, and where your labor is something you have to always get better at, then usually what happens is you get these insights that allow you to serve more. But I also think that labor, we're talking about this weekend, what makes people fulfilled by their labor is their motives for it. If your motive is just to make money or just to pay your bills or just to get rich or whatever you think that's going to be, those people never really are fulfilled even if they make the money. The most fulfilled human beings in my experience, and I've had the privilege of working with literally 4 million people from 125 countries now around the world, the people that are most alive, regardless of the economics, are people that have found something that they really feel the motive is more than just themselves. We all know what it feels like when you're trying to do for something for someone you love and you're not doing it as a trade, you're not trying to get something back, you're just doing it because it's what you're made for. And I always tell people motive does matter. That if you're just doing something for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that because life supports whatever else supports life. If you're part of life and you're trying to do something that's going to make your life better, I think the universe, God, whatever proper term for you, whatever your belief system is, infinite intelligence gets connected to you and it gives you insights. But I think if you're trying to serve more than yourself, more life than just you, when things support more of life shows up to support you. And that might sound kind of airy-fairy, but it's my experience. When you're trying to support your family, when suddenly I had 4 kids, 3 of them overnight, my life changed, my intellect changed, my abilities changed because I was trying to serve something more than just me. When I started really focusing on how to serve a community and then a country and then humanity, as corny as it may sound, you get insights you won't get when you're just trying to somehow, make your labor happen or get the job done. So labor could be love, and it isn't for most people. Most people, I think, are unhappy in their life because they look at labor as work. They look at it as, why should I have to effort so much? And in my experience, effort is the reward. If you are doing something you love, it's there. So if you don't have it, you might say, Tony, that's all wonderful. You're in Fiji and you do what you love and I don't have that. Thanks so much for giving me the lecture. I'm not coming from that place. I'm coming from the place of saying you can discover something that you're really passionate about, but in order to do it, you got to get out of the story of what you can't do and you got to put yourself on the line. I mean, so many people right now, this Labor Day, are out of work. And when you don't have the privilege to be able to work, you start realizing that work really is a privilege. And most of us know that 2/3 of the planet's living on $2 a day. So no matter how difficult our life may be, most of us, our worst challenge is somebody else's greatest dream. And I think it starts with the gratitude for what we already have. It starts with understanding that what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. And if you and I can figure out what's right with what we do, if we can start where we are and enjoy that labor, everything changes. I'll give you a silly example, kind of a funny story. I had some partners in business when I was just, oh gosh, I think I was 18 years old, 19 years old. And one of them, they're both good friends of mine still, but one of them kind of called out to me, and they're Harvey and Marilyn Diamond. If you ever read the books Fit for Life, they were my partners before that book was written, and I kind of helped them build that business up initially. And it was a health business, and I believed in it, I was passionate about it. And Harvey and Marilyn got involved with a particular guru that they really believed in India. And gradually they started to decide that what they were going to do is they were going to do this chant in the seminars we're doing, which were seminars on how to become in a peak state of fitness and health. And we're doing them for successful business people those days in Beverly Hills and West Los Angeles and a couple other areas. And I was concerned that they were now going off to India to have these spiritual experiences, and they were going to come back and they were going to try and convert people to some form of spirituality. Whether it was right or wrong didn't matter, just it wasn't what we were in business for. And I wanted to change people's lives with health. So being a young kid and thinking of all the answers, I went to India with one thing in mind. I'm going to make sure that I have a conversation with a guru and he straightens my partners out so they understand that their labor is a gift and they need to give their labor separate from their spiritual beliefs. So I go off on this journey and I go to India and I stay outside this ashram because I'm not a follower of this thing. And they're in the ashram and I go have my meals. And one day I come back from having this meal and this little monk comes up to me and the monk says, excuse me, I've not met you. I introduced myself and he says, what are you here for? I said, well, I'm here to see the guru. I want to have a meeting. And if you know anything about India, you don't just have a meeting with a guru. People come for 5 or 7 years and don't get such meetings. And I said, I'm here to get his help to straighten something out. It's very important with some of his followers. And the man said, well, I haven't seen you at Seva. And I said, what's Seva? He said, well, Seva is where you come and volunteer your time to give work, to give labor to the guru. And I said, I'm not a follower of the guru, so I don't do Seva. He goes, yeah, but you're staying in the guru's place. I said, I'm paying to stay in the guru's place. He goes, it doesn't matter. You're eating the guru's food. I said, I'm paying for the guru's food. He goes, but here you have to pay and you must give labor. And you must volunteer 4 hours a day to Seva. I'm thinking, you gotta be kidding me. But after he left, he said, you should report to this place for your assignment. I'm thinking, there's no way I'm gonna do this. But then I started to feel guilty. I see all these people, doctors and lawyers and moms and kids, and they're all working. And so finally I report for Seva. Thinking, all right, I'll get this out of the way. And so I show up for the Seva, I'll never forget, right, for my labor, remember? And the guy looks at me and goes, oh, big man, furniture mover. And I go, oh, no, I got a bad back, which was true, but I was exaggerating how bad it was at that moment just because I didn't want to do a bunch of heavy labor. And when I was growing up, I grew up very poor, and I'm the oldest of 3, and I had to do all the shopping, all the grocery shopping on my bicycle, come home, make the meal, and I was happy with all that. But then, right when you wanted to be done with your work and go watch sports or do something great, I had to wash the dishes. So I swore someday I will never do the labor of washing dishes. I will afford a dishwasher. I will find some way to not have to do dishes. I tell you this as a background because when I told him I couldn't be a furniture mover, he looks down and goes, oh, only one other job left, dishwashing. Now, dishwashing in India is a different labor than you might picture in your kitchen. And you're in this ashram and I report and there's these milk solids and yogurts on the floor and you're standing in your bare feet and you're taking these filthy dishes coming across and it's 4 hours a day for 6 or 7 days. I'm telling you, I was so angry, I was so mad, I was mad at myself that I was there, and I was washing these dishes and upset, and plus I was a vegan and I didn't like the fact there was milk on the floor, I was judgmental about everything. In the middle of all this stuff, after about an hour of being angry, I got tired of being angry, and some part of me kicked in and goes, damn, whatever you do, you're the best at it. Why don't you be the best damn dishwasher? So I started washing these dishes with a frenzy. I'm like, come on, guys, speed this thing up. And something magical happened. The thing that I thought was most disgusting and filled with labor and work became play. And I started to laugh at myself. And I thought, what an ego jerk you are to think that you're below washing some dishes. And then I got beyond my ego and jerk into why not just enjoy whatever you do, and then when you do, all of a sudden it's not work anymore. And that was my great spiritual breakthrough. I eventually did meet with this guru and try to straighten him out, but he didn't think very much of an 18-year-old kid straightening him out. He laughed quite a bit. He did talk to my partners and said, I think you guys should just keep teaching what you're teaching, and Fit for Life went on to be one of the most successful books in history. But I can't claim credit for that. I was a part of that little piece. But I will tell you that if you can Get over what, if you can get yourself to love to do the stuff you hate to do, then there's no limit to the success you can have in your life. If you can take the things that you're afraid you'd have to do to succeed in your business or to succeed in your life or to succeed in your relationship, there are things everybody doesn't want to do. And the more focused you are on how you're not going to do that, the more life seems to bring those things up for you and makes them barriers. So maybe on Labor Day, maybe it's time to take something that you can't stand doing and say, you know, I'm going to do this for 2 hours. I'm going to find a way to love the hell out of it. And if you did, you might find a little breakthrough. You might find that if you're in the moment with anything and you tap into your ability to enjoy anything in life and you just focus on what you can give instead of what you can get, in that state of giving, work disappears. And doesn't matter if you're by the ocean or in the desert. It doesn't matter with whether people even thank you or not, honestly, as much as we all enjoy people's gratitude. When you've done something really well and you know it, doesn't matter what anybody else says. You know who you are. You know what you've become. You know what you've given. And in the end, even the people that seem to be selfish inside, we all are yearning for something more in ourselves. We're yearning to feel like our life matters. And I see people all the time, it makes me choke up, who are just working their tail off and they're just so focused on the work that they've forgotten that it's a gift they can give. Sometimes that gift is just their joy. Sometimes that gift is your attention. Sometimes that gift is a level of effort that's extraordinary. And I think one of the reasons I've been able to reach so many people is when people come to my events, if you can imagine, you know, most people won't sit for a 3-hour movie that somebody has, you know, spent $300 million on. And I take people for a weekend for 50 hours. I've got, you know, Oprah Winfrey there, who says I won't sit for 2 hours and ends up loving it and becoming a dear friend. And I've got a soccer mom from Germany on a headset translated for 50 hours. And they all come out of that going, most incredible experience of my life. It's because when I'm up there, it isn't labor, it's serving. If you can tap into that service, gosh, then I get choked up when I talk about it. It's what life's made for. Life's not about me, life's about we. You know that. Maybe on Labor Day, it's a good time to remember that labor is service and service is life. And then when we serve something more than ourselves, we feel more alive. So that's my 2-second rant. I'm an emotional guy, and it's an issue that I think most people are missing. And it's you see so many people out there without a job or jobs that are just completely unthanked. I think one of those jobs is all of the people, the men and women in the armed services that are going out there working their tail off, giving their labor where their life is on the line for us. And I hope maybe on Labor Day you'll think about some of those people too. So take care, blessings, live strong, and live with passion.